We're here at Late Night Rush with Davin Bellamy, former University of Georgia pass rusher. And Davin, first off, I got to get your reaction. Georgia-Michigan last night. What's your initial reaction to watching that game?
I kind of figured all that would happen. You know, it's two different conferences. One's the SEC and one's the Big Ten. I mean, not to speak down on the Big Ten, but I may be biased. But the SEC is just different. It's different violence. It's different competitiveness, and they had great guys. You know, Michigan had great guys on the defense side of the ball, but they haven't went against an O-line like Georgia, and it showed last night. So I think we just imposed our will on them. We ran the ball, and then by the third quarter they had given up physically. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, you spent a lot of time playing in the SEC. You faced the Alabamas of the world, playing on a Georgia team that was dominant when you were there especially. What makes that SEC football different, that brand of football?
So I just think it's the way we prepare. You know that in the SEC, every week you have to bring it. And even though that team may not have the same talent as you, they have the same physical mindset. So I use the example during the time that I was in college, you know, Kentucky was a up-and-coming team, but they were the most physical team all year. So we'll walk out of the game playing Kentucky like, God damn, like, that hurt. You see what I'm saying? So every week and the way you practice, you have to prepare for a physical warfare every Saturday. Other conferences just don't have that. You may play Ohio State, but the next week you playing, you know what I'm saying, we don't know. So I think it's just the way that the coaches understand they have to prepare the athletes for every week you can be beat. It's literally like the NFL. Every week you can be beat. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that's the difference. You can't take your foot off the gas. So that means you just have to prepare different. And I just think we just prepare differently than a lot of conferences.
Well, being a pass rusher and looking at the University of Georgia, what they're doing with their front seven right now, what's making that unit special?
The depth, definitely. We always been known to have more than 3 outside linebackers that get sacks. You have some teams, they have one guy that has 15, or they have one guy that has 10 and another guy has 10 and no one has anything. Ever since I remember playing with Leonard Floyd, Jordan Jenkins, and Lorenzo Carter, and we was all on the same team, everybody had 4.5. Everybody had 5. It wasn't one guy with 17. So I definitely think one is that it's the depth that we have. We have outside linebackers just constantly coming. You've seen Robert Bill, who because of injuries and because of things that have happened, you know, off the field, he's got opportunity. This is a fifth-year senior. In the last 4 games, he got 3 sacks. So just the depth of it, and Coach Dan is really letting those guys go. He's really let them go. I know when we was in college, it was more so, you know, let's keep the quarterback in the pocket, make them make mistakes. But now it's that defense is so attacking, and they're just going and getting it, man. And they're just a good set of guys. You know, Georgia's always going to stay with like 3 or 4 outside linebackers that can roll it, you know. So just picture if Jermaine Johnson was still on that team. So, I mean, the depth, it's like 5 rolling, and there's only 2 old tackles. So.
Okay. And then when you look at Georgia producing these outside linebackers, these types, what is it about Georgia that's taking these guys that are highly recruited but then developing and putting them out to an NFL level, which is also a place you've been to?
Right, no doubt. Well, I definitely think a lot of the guys, well, Georgia has, you know, a set look that they want when it comes to outside linebackers. So most of those guys are going to be long, 6'4". So now you just got to get it to where let's put the weight on the kid. They already have the frame. Now it's about putting the weight on the team, you know, on the guys. And then, like I say, our practices are so rigorous that the games are easier. And I could say this from my experience from playing with Coach Smart, the games are easier. Okay. So you got to realize you got these guys coming in, they're going against 5-star old tackles. So last night, the guy Hutchinson,
right,
he went against what I think was the best tackle he's went against all year, yep, and he didn't do fairly well. Now think about those guys that play for Georgia, they've been practicing against him every day. Like, I remember when I was in college, going against Isaiah Wynn every day. And I was like, whoever on Saturday is not Isaiah Wynn.
Yeah.
Me and Lorenzo Carter used to always say that. Whoever's there on Saturday is not Isaiah Wynn. Yeah. So I just think just the competition of the offense and defense and the way they're prepared, and we're getting some studs. Man, they 6'4", 6'5", you just put the speed on them and, put the weight on them and they're good to go.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah. And when you look at the college football playoff under Coach Kirby Smart, right, what is that vibe? What is that environment like for those of us that have not been in the locker room or in that prep room?
Honestly, it's going to sound crazy, but it's the same as the regular season. Okay. So just speaking from my experience, and that's all I can speak about, week 1 was treated like the Rose Bowl. You see what I'm saying? Okay. We flew in from Cali from the Rose Bowl and immediately had a padded practice. Yeah. So one thing that Coach Smart does an excellent job of is not letting guys feed into the media. So if the media was telling us how good we are, he's going to tell us how bad we are. So just knowing Coach Smart, I'm knowing that the message in there is it's the same it's been all year. It doesn't matter the game. It doesn't matter the opponent. You don't look at the scoreboard. You play Georgia football. Right. So, I think those guys are locked in. There wasn't a lot of celebrating, because we all know that this team and now the standard for Georgia is now a championship or bust. So I'm pretty sure he's kind of preaching that message to enjoy this for 6 hours. But job's not finished. And I know he's pressing those buttons right now. Gotcha.
Okay, and when you look back on your time in the college football playoff, played Oklahoma, played Alabama, when you look back, how do you remember that run now that it's been a few years?
Magical. Very magical, but it was so hard. And that's what I when I think about on it, it was so hard. By the time we got to the national championship, we had flown to Cali, flown back, played here, played this. It was so mentally, physically exhausting. But that's what winning is. Winning isn't pretty, it isn't easy. That was a hard year. So when I think about that year, I think about how hard it was to physically play an SEC schedule, then an SEC championship game, then 2 college playoff games. But in all, it was all worth it. And that kind of taught me anything that's worth having, it's worth going through some shit for. So just going through that ordeal and just thinking about it, it was so hard. But everybody from that class is close because it was so hard. You had to lean on your brother, literally, to keep you going mentally and physically. That class is tight as ever. We still stay in contact with each other, and I just think it's a test to how hard it was, how hard we really wanted to win it.
Gotcha. Okay, and then when you look at, I'm curious, with NIL now, for you, I know when you came out with some stuff, right? Some different clothing and things like that. I'm curious, for a guy like you that had the personality in college, you were well known, what would you have done with NIL back in your time?
Man, look, I think it's God works in mysterious ways. And I think it was good for me that I was going because, I had the dabbing where I would dab every time I made a play, had to humble yourself. I love the media. I was always out in the community. And just my personality, man, I think I kind of would have been focused on making a caricature for NIL versus really locking in. And but I don't mind these guys for getting their money. You know what I'm saying? I damn sure wish because you're right, man. I feel like I would have made a killing. I just feel like I would have made a killing. I definitely feel like I would have made a killing.
Yeah, I agree. I would have bought your shirts.
For sure.
Yeah,
I definitely would have made a killing.
And what was the origin of the Humble Yourself, the story behind that?
So it's actually crazy. So when I was in high school, I was getting all these offers. And then my mom, I guess she always said I was smelling myself. Y'all should tell me to humble yourself before God will. And that always stuck with me. So at the time, you had all the pregame things going on between Baker and us, Oklahoma and them, and after the game, it just all came out. Like, we knew that we were better. We knew we had the better team. We knew we played the harder schedule. We knew we had the better coach, and y'all doing all the talking. So after we finally did the talking with our helmets, my big mouth, once the game over, I have to say something. So it was kind of more so of, because honestly, I do respect him as a competitor and as a player, because we tried to give him everything we had. We was diving on him late, hitting him hard, and he kept getting back up. So I respect him as a competitor and still do to this day. But I think it just all came out as, we've been quiet. Y'all had the big contender sign when he got off the bus, and it was kind of just like, just humble yourself. You're a great player, but just humble yourself. And that's kind of where that message came from.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, and then when you look forward here in the college football playoff and you look at Georgia, Alabama, the matchup again, you've played in these games. How do you see it?
I definitely think it's going to be closer this time. The first game, a lot of jitters. And you're dealing with, at the time, Georgia was the undefeated team. So even though you say you don't feed into the poison, as a human, you subconsciously do. And until you lose, you don't know that you can't be beat. So, and I kind of, speaking from my experience, like I always say, us rolling into Auburn Week 10 as the number one team in the country, had been beat, we thought nobody could beat us. Even though Coach Smart kept us on the gas, subconsciously, we haven't been beat yet. So that, I think, woke Georgia up. And honestly, I got the dogs winning. I do think it's going to be a close game, 21-17 type game. And I think we just know what we got to do. We know what we got to do now. We definitely know what we got to do. And they whooped our butt last game. So kind of knowing what type of coach that Coach Smart is, the same way when Auburn whooped us and we came back, I'm pretty sure those guys have been thinking about this for 2-3 weeks now. Even though you don't supposed to look ahead, when they found out Alabama won, I know for a fact they wanted to make sure they get there.
All right, and for fans that have followed you and you've been in the NFL, had some time there, what are you up to now? What's going on for you?
Honestly, I'm still in the NFL. I'm a free agent right now. Had a calf injury before camp that sat me out about 3 months. Did preseason with the Chargers. Ended up not making the squad. But I'm a free agent right now. Still getting it. I had some last year when I was about to play, around week 7, I had to be admitted into the hospital for a staph infection. That cost me my season, so I was on IR. That was just bad timing, and then I had bad time with the calf. So it's all been bad timing, but, the same way I was telling these guys, I know what I can play. I know what I can do. I know I put the time in. Now it's all about the opportunity. You don't know when the opportunity's going to come, but now it's all about opportunity. So, man, I'm still grinding it out, man. Still grinding it out.
Here at Late Night Rush, working with some of the younger guys, how'd you get into working with the youth and younger generation?
Man, I worked with Chuck for about 4 years, met Dez through Chuck. Dez wanted me to come out and speak to some of the guys, before. I love training for myself. So a part of a person that loves his craft is also a person that loves giving out the knowledge that he's learned. It goes hand to hand. So I'm always free access of giving out game. So came to talk to the kids and man, I kind of been doing this for a while. Way off the camera. During the offseason, I worked with Jermaine Johnson. I've worked with Aziz, worked with Nolan. So we do this all All the time, all the time.
Gotcha. And what is your message when you talk to younger guys and talk from your experience that you've got?
My message is, learn from the mistakes that I've done. I know if I would have took my training in the game as serious as I should have, my careers in college, and just paying attention to those attention to details and just grinding it out, working on your game, I would have been a first-round prospect. So I lost a lot of money on the front end. So I always want to speak to the youth that girls are important, partying isn't important. Only thing that's important is your faith, your grind, and just getting lost in it. So we all have something in life that we love so much that we just get lost in it. And if it's pass rushing and it's football, then do that. Do that when you train. Have the attention to detail when you train, and that's kind of always my message, man. That if you're gonna do something, do it to the best of your ability. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause how you do everything is how you do anything.
Gotcha. Well, Davin, thank you so much for your time today.
Man, thanks for having me, big dog. For sure.